We have massive injury news in the National Football League as Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow is going to miss the remainder of the 2023 season with a torn ligament in his wrist suffered last night on Thursday Night Football between the Bengals and the Ravens. I'm going to be letting you know what this means for the Cincinnati Bengals season moving forward. But first, make sure you click that subscribe button because this is why you subscribe to the channel here at Chat Sports. We got over 300,000 people already subscribed for a reason. It's because we give you guys daily updates on all the biggest news stories and every single sport in the world right here on the channel. So make sure you click that subscribe button so you never miss any big news around the league. All right, so let's start with Joe Burrow here, where, of course, it's just the worst possible news that you could possibly hear if you are a Cincinnati Bengals fan today. Torn wrist ligament, going to be out for the rest of the 2023 NFL season. And, you know, when it comes to this sort of thing with season-ending injuries, especially to star quarterbacks, this is the last thing that Bengals fans want to see, but also NFL fans, because you just hate to see stuff like this happen. NFL fans want to see star players healthy and on the field, especially when, you know, it's Joe Burrow, right? It's one of arguably a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. The NFL is better when Joe Burrow is on the field and he is healthy. And, you know, when I was watching the game last night and he was trying to grip the football and throw it and he just couldn't even like get a little bit of a whimper in there, right? He just couldn't even throw it. I knew. I saw that clip and I was like, I don't think Burrow is going to be able to finish this season. And, you know, it turns out that it was true. They were calling it a sprained wrist last night. I'm like, there's no way that's a sprain. He can't even grip the football. And just given his reaction on the field last night, screaming, knowing that he cannot grip that football, I thought at first it could have been an elbow thing like we saw with Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game last year. But when it comes to this one, it's a torn wrist ligament. It's going to require surgery, and now we will miss him for the rest of the 2023 NFL season. I'm going to let you know what I think this means for the Bengals season here in just a second. But first, show some love to Joey B down there in the comment section right now. Spam 9 in the chat to wish Joey Burrow a speedy and full recovery. Hopefully he can make it all the way back, and he's the same Joe Burrow that he once was. All right, so now let's get into the AFC North standings after last night's Thursday night matchup. The Baltimore Ravens sitting atop the AFC North standings by a game right now, sitting at 8-3, one of the best records in the AFC. Then also Pittsburgh and the Cleveland Browns are sitting at 6-3. They're playing each other this weekend, so there's going to be one person with sole possession of second place in the AFC North after this weekend. And now Cincinnati, after last night's loss, they're sitting at 5-5. And with no Joe Burrow. So they're behind the 8 ball in a very competitive division, in a very competitive conference here in the AFC. And I hate to break it to you, Bengals fans, but unless something drastically changes or Jake Browning or whoever they bring in as their next quarterback completely surprises everybody and shocks the world, the Bengals season is over, all right? That's just the reality on the ground right now. It sucks because the Bengals have a Super Bowl-ready roster. They got Jamar Chase. They got a defense that's turning offenses over this year. They were just starting to turn a new leaf, right? They had a tough start to the season. They started winning some football games. Really looked like Joe Burrow was getting back to the Joey B that we all know and love. But now that adventure is over, at least for this season. And as far as right now, I think that Cincinnati season is officially over. But that doesn't mean that they don't still have games to play. So where does Cincy go from here at the quarterback position? Should they stick with Jake Browning or should they go get somebody in free agency? I'm going to let you know the options available here in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about our sponsor today at PrizePicks. You know, ever since that we've started partnering with PrizePicks here at Chat Sports, I have not been able to put this thing down. I absolutely love using it. PrizePicks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. And if you're looking for a more fun way to spice up your game days this NFL season, this app is going to be perfect for you guys. So you might be asking yourselves, how does this work? Well, here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players. If they'll go for more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can even win up to 25 times your money on any entry. So let's take a look at my entry for this weekend here for the Pittsburgh Steelers game between them and the Cleveland Browns. I'm going all Steelers players on my entry this weekend. I've got Kenny Pickett with the more here on 193.5 passing yards. I got the less on Najee Harris rush yards and the more on George Pickens receiving yards. You can check it out now and get your picks in before football starts up again here on Sunday afternoon by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. At PrizePicks, you aren't competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available on PrizePicks instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks that are just looking to take advantage of you. With PrizePicks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right away. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. So right now, the Bengals have Jake Browning as their backup quarterback. Came in relief of Burrow last night on Thursday Night Football. And you know what? Browning actually played pretty decently. 8 of 14 for 68 yards and a touchdown. Led the team down for a couple of scoring drives. No interceptions, no big mistakes. But I don't think Jake Browning's going to be fooling anybody, right? He's not going to be somebody that's going to get the Bengals in a playoff position here. Beginning their season at 5-5. But the thing is, I'm not really sure that there's any free agents that are going to get you there either. So if I'm a Bengals fan, I might want to stick with Jake Browning, but there are some potential options here for the Bengals if they want to go get a free agent. Number one is Joe Flacco, of course, played a pretty significant time last year with the New York Jets. And he's even got a workout with the Cleveland Browns today. So he's definitely somebody that NFL circles are still keeping their eye on at this point in his career. So if he doesn't end up signing with Cleveland, of course, Deshaun Watson is out for the season. So this is the second AFC North starting quarterback this week that is out for the year. I mean, goodness gracious. But Joe Flacco is definitely somebody that's been in this league, has been in this division, and could be a viable option for the Bengals if they want to go get a veteran. And then also you got Matt Ryan. I know he's currently in the booth with CBS, but he's been talking, if there was the right situation, he would consider coming back. Is it possible that the Bengals, with a Super Bowl-ready roster, reaches out to Matt Ryan? I think Ryan would have a really tough time saying no, given the amount of weapons that he would have here in Cincinnati and the kind of defense that he would have here with the Bengals. Another potential option here, I know he's currently on a roster, it's Ryan Tannehill. He could ask for his release because, let's face it, man, he's the backup quarterback there in Tennessee now. Will Levis, that's his team right now. Tannehill's not going to be taking that job over unless Levis gets hurt. So Tannehill might go to the Titans brass here and say, hey, go release me right now. I'll go to the Bengals and I'll try to kind of do a last hurrah as a starting quarterback here in the National Football League. And then speaking of this potential route here, Jimmy Garoppolo is another guy that could go to the Raiders. He's not going to be playing for the rest of the year. According to the Raiders, it's going to be Aiden O'Connell, the rookie out of Purdue. So if Jimmy wants an opportunity to go start elsewhere, he could be like, hey, Raiders, release me. I'll go to Cincinnati. And then kind of the third person in this category here of asking for a release, Mac Jones, hasn't been benched yet, so I'm not sure. I think this is probably the least likely option on this list. But if they end up going to Bailey Zappi and they end up, Mac Jones could end up going to the Patriots brass here, go up to Belichick and say, hey, release me. I want to go to Cincinnati and I want to go try to win some football games for the Cincinnati Bengals. So let me know what you guys think. What the Cincinnati Bengals should do here. Should they play Jake Browning for the rest of the year and essentially punt on the season? Or do you think they should take a swing at a free agent and try to make some magic happen here in the second half of the year? Type JB if you want to play Jake Browning, or type FA if you want to go get a free agent. That'll be it for today's show, NFL fans. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now for more NFL updates all season long.